As a busy professional, your life is a constant whirlwind of responsibilities, including work tasks, family responsibilities, household tasks, and maybe even community obligations. So it's no wonder you're feeling stretched thin with too much to do and not enough time. But what if there was a way to take control of your time and reclaim your energy while thriving in both your personal and professional life? Let's talk about some time-saving hacks, some time management hacks that I have seen help hundreds of high-achieving professionals. So first, let's start with prioritization and not perfection, because you can't do everything, and that's okay. So we want to determine what is your top priority and keep this focused on time frames, what's most urgent. And then if there are other tasks that you can delegate, delegate. You want to be able to free your time so that you can truly focus on those top priorities and those things that are most urgent. And also remember that perfectionism can keep us stuck too. So sometimes it's a matter of get it done and don't keep going over it. The more we go over it, the more we're going to keep ourselves stuck. Second, let's leverage our micro breaks and time blocking. Time blocking is a huge topic these days. You might be feeling the pressure to jump from one meeting to the next, or maybe your work shift is unpredictable in its schedule. So whichever leaves you feeling frustrated, stuck, or overwhelmed, know there are ways to improve. So micro breaks or blocks in your schedule can have a huge impact. For example, if you're jumping from back-to-back meetings, can you adjust one of them to start 5 minutes later? Give yourself and others time to pause, breathe, and take care of personal needs before the next meeting. I think it's unrealistic to expect people to go from one meeting to the next without taking a pause. Mentally, we can't shift. Physically, we need a change just for a moment. Or maybe you need to schedule pockets of time in your schedule to complete specific tasks, right? These pockets of time should be long enough that you can accomplish something, but short enough you don't lose focus. So for many people, this is chunking their schedule into 20 or 30-minute increments for those tasks, right? That's the time blocking. The third thing we want to talk about with time management is to embrace the power of saying no and setting boundaries. As a high achiever, it is easy to say yes and just handle the situation that comes up yourself. We do this because it's just easier and quicker, right? And then we know it's done. But we want to be cautious because saying yes to everything does prevent us from getting those things we identified earlier as priorities from getting done. If we let every question, every crisis situation come up and intervene, right? If there's somebody else that can handle it, let them handle it so you can get things done. So set those boundaries because saying no can decrease your feeling of overwhelm and stress. You want to be sure that what you do say yes to aligns with your priorities, right? Because those priorities are going to keep things moving. Everything else should have a no or a clear boundary around when you can actually get to it, right? Because everybody's urgent situation does not mean it's urgent to you in this moment. It might be something that can wait a few hours or a couple days, and that might be the boundary of, yes, I'll get to it tomorrow. So remember, boundaries are helpful because you need to stay focused on your priorities. And this also helps protect your energy and your time when you do set boundaries or say no. So the fourth thing is we want to talk about creating a pre and post shift routine. These provides opportunities for you to shift your mindset from one location to the other. And I have this conversation a lot with individuals I helped during COVID, especially those who are working from home. And many of us still work from home, and this is also important, right? Or for you, those of you who leave at the end of your shift and you feel like work is just coming home with you. And it's not necessarily papers in your hand, but it's just the mental load of everything you had to face that day that can follow you home. So finding ways to process and let go of that before you get home is important, right? If we're talking about that post-shift routine. So whatever it is, for some people it can be as little as 10 minutes, but it's a routine you do to help your mind and your body fully transition to go, okay, I am not at work anymore. Work needs to stay there, right? So, for example, I've had people who love their commute time because this is their chance to decompress and process and just let go of the day's work. So when they walk in the door at home, they are fully present. If you have a shorter commute, which I've been there too, this doesn't have to be long, right? It can be when you walk out of work and you sit in your car. Maybe you walk around the building outside, taking some deep breaths before you get in your car. Or it's a 10-minute routine you do when you're sitting in your car before you start it. You can get creative, but just try and think about what helps you just clear your mind mentally so that when you go home, you have that shift. And then it's the same thing, right? You can have a pre-shift routine that helps you just kind of get ready for whatever you're going to walk into for the day. Doesn't have to be long, but you want to look at both ends just so that you're transitioning between home and work, work and home, or other community events, sporting events easily without feeling rushed and without it taking over. And when you do create these routines on both ends of your work schedule, you will find improved mental clarity. You'll have better time for reflection when you need it. And it can actually decrease that pile up of that ongoing stress. So it doesn't just keep to accumulate where it's building up in your body. You have to find ways to release it intermittently so that it doesn't build up. And the fifth thing and the last thing I want to talk about is schedule time for yourself. You are so important. Your well-being is important for you, your family, and the people you help. And so you need time for yourself in order to continue to take care of others, right? We talk a lot about we have to fill our own cup before we can fill up others, but that is so important because the more we give and the more we give without refilling ourselves, we will have nothing left and we will have drained our resources. And this isn't just our physical and mental resources because it's both, it's all of it. And so I know many of you are probably thinking, but Deidre, I don't have time. I get it. We're all busy. It is hard to find time for certain things. And that's why I believe in thinking about small increments, right? Start with 5 minutes, start with what feels possible. We don't have to create this elaborate plan and have an hour of self-care a week. If you have time, wonderful. If you don't, start small, right? We can incrementally build it up so it becomes that habit that sticks. So I encourage people to start with 5 minutes if they can. 15 is better, but 5 works just as well. And you can do things that just help you de-stress and just help you kind of reconnect with yourself and fill up, right? For some, it's going for a walk. Maybe it's reading a certain magazine article, meditating, or spending time with your loved ones. All of those are great. But I want you to think for a minute for yourself, right? Reflect and connect to what does help me feel better every day, because what works for you does not work for the other person because we are all so different. And really think about those activities that connect to or help you get those good endorphins flowing through your body, or when you're with people, right? Things that help give you that oxytocin, because those things are the things that help you feel good and they keep you going. And whatever it is you decide to do, I want you to try to do it short increments. Let's start with twice a week, right? The goal is we're going to work up to every day, but let's start with a couple times a week. But you have to make these things non-negotiable for you. They have to happen no matter what. And so remember, the time management isn't about trying to do everything. Time management is about being intentional with your time and your focus. It's about prioritizing what truly matters and those things that you have to address, right? There's consequences if that doesn't get done now or in the next day. So it's not about cramming in more and saying yes to everybody. It's about protecting your time and your energy because those are your most valuable resources and assets. You're the only one that can protect it. I can't protect it for you. I've had to learn to protect it myself, and it's not easy, so I get it. But we do have to protect it. To thrive, it does require small changes, but I really encourage small changes make a huge impact. And I've heard this story after story. Deidre, I can't believe that helped. That made a huge difference. Thank you. So I promise you, if you start small, you'll feel big impact. But let me know in the comments which of these 5 hacks you're most drawn to, whether you found it helpful in the past or it's the one you really want to focus on. But I know if you implement any of these, you're gonna feel a world of difference. You're gonna have more energy and focus.